Washington Post, and it says the U.S. and its troops abroad are vulnerable to low-flying drones. Brett Velicovich is the drone expert, and Brett joins me now. What defense from these low-flying drones do we need that we do not yet have?
Well, we need to layer the defenses because there's this constant cat and mouse game between advancing lethal drone technology and counter drone technology, and that's going to continue for the next decade at least. And the bottom line is, Stuart, we need more investment in the counter drone sector. We just saw another drone strike on U.S. troops in the region, and many modern militaries, including the Israelis, including the Ukrainians or Russians, they've started investing heavily in counter drone technology. The Israelis have very strong drone defense capabilities since they've been dealing with this threat for so long, maybe even the best in the world, but not everyone does. So we can't get a false sense of security here from this recent Iran strike that was thwarted. The ground truth is that these lethal drone strikes are going to get more and more regular as the massive proliferation of drones continue globally.
So do we need Israeli technology? I'm thinking of the Iron Dome. Surely we need that. It works. Do we have it? Can we get it?
Well, we did play a pretty strong role in supporting the Israeli defenses. So we've helped them also with systems like the Arrow system, which was developed with U.S. engineers designed to strike down these long-range missiles. We've also helped them with their Iron Dome system. So we do have access to the technology, but you got to understand we have a lot of military bases around the world. We need much more of these systems. And these low-cost, highly lethal drones, they're becoming more and more commonplace, and they're no longer just reserved for nation states with government budgets. It's nothing for someone who really wants to cause damage to get their hands on some lethal drone, and I think we need to wake up and invest more in the sector.
There are reports that the Israelis are getting ready to attack Rafah and finish off Hamas. Do you have anything on it? Are they going to do this?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, look, there's a lot of controversy over Israel's continued operations in Gaza, but this has been a large problem in the past where the Israelis get attacked, then they exert this major pressure in Gaza, then the international community condemns Israel. The Israelis are forced to leave because of this mounting pressure, and that's the cycle. But not this time. This is why October 7th happened. This is why terrorists are able to thrive. Enough is enough. If the Palestinians want it stopped, they need to give up Hamas. They need to give up Hamas. Israel's not against the Palestinian people. They're against Hamas. And this is a group that needs to be put down once and for all. In this case, the Israelis have to fully eliminate the enemy and not just contain them so these attacks don't happen again. They have to reestablish deterrence. And even, the Israeli public, they're calling for Hamas to be destroyed once and for all. And we need to let them do that. We need to back them from the U.S. side and give them the time and space to crush Hamas without condemning their next actions in swift response. They have no choice to, stand back and just do nothing. When they do nothing, look what happened to them.
I never hear anybody talk about the hostages. I mean, that's the most brutal form of warfare that I can imagine, the most immoral and disgusting form that I can imagine. Nobody mentions these hostages. None at all. They never come into the equation. And I don't know why.
Yeah, you're exactly right. My fear is a lot of the hostages have potentially been killed, and we just don't realize it. So, they're using that as a bargain chip, Hamas is, to stop Israel from really going in there with full force. But at the same time, you're right, we don't hear too much of them.
Why don't these demonstrators at these elite universities, why do they never mention the brutality of taking hostages? I mean, I'm disgusted by it, quite frankly. I'm going to move on. I'm sure you saw this, Brett, but the foreign minister of Russia, he's warning that the world is on the brink of a, quote, direct military clash between Russia and other nuclear powers. Is this a scare tactic to stop us from helping Ukraine?
Well, Stuart, I think it's telling that the comments came right after the House passed a $61 billion foreign aid package for Kyiv over the weekend. And, it's a huge lifeline for Ukraine at a time when they need it most. But sadly, there is this sense that Russia's winning overall and just waiting out their time with little regard to the loss of their own soldiers. And Putin just sends his soldiers to the front line with little to defend themselves. And I think a lot of people didn't necessarily expect that they would just be slowly wearing out Ukrainian forces over time, despite the fact the Ukrainians are killing Russians 10-1. But strategically, I think a lot of people fear that Putin could end this war with just one single strike. And overall, we're seeing this shift of alliances, this shift of major forces that are working against us. And I think this goes to show we're on the brink of something bigger, a new level of military cooperation from countries that weren't so overt about these alliances before. Most Americans probably don't realize how close we are to another world war because behind the scenes, you've got these large, countries economically and militarily trying to hurt us. China, Russia, Iran, they're rebuilding these alliances all designed to hurt us. And that's why we can't, we can't let countries like Iran get this nuclear weapon, because they're crazy enough to potentially even use it.
Exactly.
So,
they're crazy enough to do it. Okay. Brett Velicovich, thanks so much for joining us. See you again real soon, Brett. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.